Halo 2 is regarded by many as the best game in the series, most notably for the story told from the perspective of the Covenant. After beginning the game with Chief and taking the fight to Earth, players were surprisingly placed in the shoes of the Arbiter, otherwise known as Thel 'Vadamee, a disgraced Covenant Supreme Commander who is sent on a mission to a Forerunner gas mine suspended in the atmosphere of the planet Threshold, located next to the now destroyed Alpha Halo. Here, the Arbiter and a team of Spec Ops elites and grunts must eliminate a faction of Covenant heretics, led by elite Cesar Rafumi. This sets the scene for my Mega Bloks and Lego build, the Arbiter. This video is largely a time-lapse of the building process. I will stop here and there to talk through some of the design decisions and challenges. However, if you'd prefer not to hear my chatter and just watch, I'd recommend muting the video and throwing on the track Mausoleum Suite from Volume 2 of the Halo 2 soundtrack. A complete parts guide and instructions are available for purchase on my Patreon shop, and you can find information about that in the description. Without any further ado, let's begin. The decision to make a motorized conveyor belt carrying gas canisters meant that I needed to suspend the main part of the build to provide enough clearance for the canisters to roll underneath. This is where the base came in. I used Technic parts to snap together a sturdy but relatively light base, and used axles and 2x10x10 supports to create height. Cheaper LEGO compatible versions of these supports can be found on AliExpress. Next, I created a platform for the motor. As you'll see later on, the height had to be absolutely perfect to line up with the rest of the gear system, so it took a bit of LEGO maths to get right. Again, LEGO compatible motors and battery boxes can be purchased on AliExpress for a lot cheaper than you'll find in most other places. I managed to get a LEGO set really cheap, just $15 on Facebook Marketplace for this one, so as always I recommend having a look at local ads first. Next, the main platforms were attached. The slope part took a lot of trial and error to get right. In the end, I used these purple mega pieces that come in the original Masters of the Universe Havoc Staff set. I highly recommend this set for any LEGO Mega custom builders out there, as it has a ton of Covenant purple parts and is still available for purchase on Amazon. Next is the fun part. I say fun. This was one of a few frustrating parts of the build. Lining up these gears was tricky, but in the end I used a series of small axle connectors so they could be aligned a lot easier. Once these were connected to the front and back, I was ready to connect the conveyor belt. The conveyor is another not so fun part of this build, unless you find monotonous tasks enjoyable. Each belt includes 136 LEGO tread pieces and 100 1x6 trans blue tiles, also purchased on AliExpress, connected together with a stack of tan and black plates. Joining them up to the gears can be a little finicky, but removing some of the trans blue parts makes it a lot easier. These 4 identical pillars use a combination of Mega Bloks and LEGO to a really good effect, I think, and feature warm white lights that shine through at the base. Next, I connect the gears to the motor. You can see that I used a pair of scissors here. This was to stop the axle on the far right from disappearing into the hole when I pushed a gear onto it. This part of the build took a lot of trial and error. The main challenge was figuring out how to use gear ratios to slow down the conveyor belt. Basically, when a smaller 8-tooth gear, placed closer to the motor, is connected to a larger 16 or 24 tooth gear, the larger gear slows down. I repeated this mechanic twice to allow the conveyor to move at a steady pace that wasn't going to send the gas canisters flying. Next, I connected up the lights. This plasma explosion build uses a pulsating blue light from Light My Bricks. Seriously, if you are a mock builder and you haven't already, make sure you have a look at their custom range. They aren't cheap, but their lights are absolutely fantastic and easy to hide in any build. I'm not sponsored, I just really like their stuff. Connecting up the lights here was a little tricky. You can see I actually had to disconnect the conveyor, and in hindsight, connecting up the lights before putting the conveyor in would have been a lot easier. Once the lighting was out of the way, the rest of the build was a lot easier. There isn't a whole lot to explain about the upper walkway. It features a lot of repeated wall designs to match roughly what we see in game. These octagonal structures were made possible by a series of Lego hinge pieces, and I really like how they came together. Next was the finishing touches, the gas canisters and figures. I created 10 gas canisters, 2 you saw being suspended with a trans-clear bar in the chutes on the platform, another 2 sit on the slope, and I placed 2 on each conveyor. In terms of figures, I was very lucky to collect the few extra Heretic Elites that feature in the Arbiter's Quest set, and Heretic Grunts, which feature in the Halo 2 character pack, to make an army of 8. The purple elites are custom painted by me. I'm no means a qualified figure painter, but I gathered enough YouTube training and did a decent job on these for display. While I am really proud of this build overall, there are a couple of issues I'm still yet to figure out. Firstly, some of the gas canisters will fall off the conveyor when it's running. I strongly suspect this is because they're just too heavy to be connected to the conveyor by a single stud. But interestingly, this only ever happens with one of the belts. The other 4 gas canisters on 2 of the belts tend to be fine. You can see here I left the belt running for quite some time to test it, 2 fall off straight away and the rest managed to cling on. The second issue is the sound. Just have a listen. I think the motor is just working really hard, plus the sound of the 1x6 tiles clipping the back of the build when they come up. It isn't exactly nice to listen to. As I said at the beginning of the video, if you would like to support me by purchasing the instructions for this build, they are available on my Patreon shop. They feature a parts list and buying guide for everything you see here, including the lights and figures, as well as 700 plus pages of instructions, as well as files that can be used to purchase the Lego parts on bricklink.com. I've left some more information in the description. I also have membership options available on Patreon if you'd like to support me as well, which I have also outlined below. Finally, a massive thank you to my Patreon members, and a special shout out to Brickographers Dread 4007 and Oni. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to sharing more soon.